Hello everyone. Can everyone see my screen? I think only 3 people joined. Oh, 3 people in the sense only Pfizer.
Hey.
I think for the people who are here, you don't have to join, right? Because that will echo. It's creating an echo, so you can drop it. I think it's only for the online. Okay, so everybody can. I think it's echoing. Everybody can see my screen and hear my voice, right?
Yes.
Can somebody respond? Either Faisal or Nisha.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Can I respond from here?
So, okay, so I'll just brief about whatever we just discussed. So first is for loop, simple for loop. So for integer I equals to 1, I less than or equal to 100, I plus plus. This is the syntax for any for loop, simple for loop. Now if you want to print numbers from 1 through 100, simple task is just put a system.println underneath the for loop that will print all the numbers. Simple as that. Now little bit complex program is write a program to print odd numbers only. Okay. Since there is a repeatable operation involved, we will again use for loop, but for the odd numbers, we have to skip by 2. The increment will be I plus 2 instead of I plus 1. Okay. Now, if I print it, it will print these numbers. Now, same thing, if I want to print even numbers, the starting point should be 2 because the 2 is the first even number. And I want to go till less than 100. Then increment will be 2, like 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, blah, blah, blah. So let's run it and see. Okay, so I'll properly run it. So what I'll do is for loop, packet open, and we'll put something here, sys out, integers from 1 to 100, so that it will be printed visibly, so that we'll know what is being printed. Otherwise, okay. So now what happens is this will be printed repeatedly 100 times. So we don't want to do that, right? So we have to keep this outside for loop, because whatever you print inside the for loop, it will print it repeatedly. Now this is when you see the output, it will be visible clearly. Now I'll copy this, and for odd numbers also I'll print it like this. So odd integers, right? Now for even integers, we will print this separately and we'll call this even integers. Okay, so oops, even integers, control save, control S, and run it, so that we will see the output clearly. I mean, there is no confusion. So let's expand and verify the output. Okay. So integers from 1 through 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, blah, 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 till 100. And then odd integers from 1 through 100, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 till 99. Then even integers from 1 through 100. So 2, 2, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, blah, 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 till 98, 100. So you can take spaces, whatever you want to, that is for the cosmetic thing. But functionally, this is how it should be. Okay, so everybody understood this?
Yes.
No doubts?
No.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's complicate a little the same. Okay, now I want you to write a program. Okay, simple, write a program to print multiples of 5. Okay, I am removing from 1 because 1 is not a multiple of 5. So multiples of 5 till let's make it 500. Okay, so exactly similar way you have to write it, no change. Only the some part you need to change. Logically think and write. Write a program using the for loop, of course. I don't have to mention it. That prints multiples of 5 till 500. So obviously 5 is starting point. So you make the decision and write it. So even so students on who are on the online attending from GoToMeeting also start writing. Any questions you can ask me. So I'll just respond it.
Got it.
So, hmm.
Then,
Huh?
let's say
That's okay.
500.
Right. Yeah. That's so that's it. You got it. Okay. What's right? Okay, everybody is able to write, right? So if any questions, ask me right away. Multiples of 5. So multiples of 5 will look like, I will show you the output. I mean, if you don't know the output, you have to first determine the output, what you want to print, right? So 5, comma, 10, comma, 15, comma, so and so forth till 500. This is how the output should be when you print it. So now you make logical.
Until the 500, right here.
No, so 5 is the starting point, right?
Sure.
By how many you want to increase every time?
So okay, it means like whatever the number.
Yeah, so 5. Then what is the next 5 multiple of 5? 5 ones are 5. 5 twos are 10. 5 threes are 15, like that.
Like this.
Yeah, that's it. That is one way. I'll show you the other way too. Everybody.
So I need to put over here the 500.
Yeah. I is equal to 5, I less than to 500, I is equal to I plus 5. Perfect. So you're getting
Right? So I need to put over here the 500.
till 500. So that is the max. That is the condition. So less than. Okay, so everybody is able to write, but I will show you in a different way. Instead of 5, so we will put a if condition also. So this is how you have to write. It's better than that logically. So first we'll sys out multiples of 5. Okay, so then I want to take a new line also. Backslash n will take a new line before and after, so that output will look nice. Backslash n means it will take a new line, because last time we have seen new line was not there, it was continuous, right? So new line character actually makes it look more. Okay, so for loop, of course, and I'll start from I is equal to 5, correct? And I less than or equal to 500 less than or equal to. Okay, then I won't put I plus plus, I is equal to I plus 5. I'll just put I plus plus. Okay, so now what I'll do is, okay, so I have to put multi-line thing, otherwise it won't, and I have to declare integer here, right, because it's local. Okay, so far so good. Now I'll just put a simple logic using if condition. If I is divisible by 5, then only print it, otherwise don't print it. That's my logic. Okay, so I am actually combining loops with the if condition. So now we are combining both things. If I is divisible by 5, how do you determine divisible by 5? There is a modulo operator, I told you, right? I modulo 5, correct? Equals is a symbol, not equals. Equals 0. That means when I is divisible by 5, the remainder is 0. Then that is called the multiple of 5. Then print I. That's simple logic. This out. I. So now let's try and run this, whether the same output comes or not. So if the same output comes, we are correct. Same thing. So multiples of 5, 5, 10. So what it is doing is it is starting from 5. And okay, so it is, this is how it works. First 5, then 5 modulo 5. 5, when 5 divided by 5, the remainder is 0, right? The condition is satisfied, if condition. Then it prints here. Then it increments by 1. So I is 6 now. 6 divided by 5 results in remainder 1. Okay, so this condition is not satisfied. So 6 modulo 5 equals 1. Then this equals 0 condition is not satisfied. When it's not satisfied, it won't print it. It will again come out of the if condition and go to the for loop. Then I is equal to 7, correct? So likewise, it will check and it will print only when the remainder is 0. It will not even print if remainder is not 0. Simple as that. So this way, this concept, this example illustrates the combination of for loop and if condition, which is more likely we are going to use, because we are not going to use just one concept at the same time. We are going to combine multiple, like for and if loop. So you can write the previous, some people have written different way. That is also correct. I am not saying that is wrong, but this is a better way logically.
So we can do this even odd things by this word.
Yes. Okay, so little bit complex now. Okay, so if anybody has any questions in this, I hope not. So let's complicate this a little bit, not much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the reusable function. So for now we are only using the test, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a library. Okay, so maybe you have done some typing mistake. So I do it by equals 0, some bracket is missing. Just put one more bracket. So again, yeah. No, the closing bracket. Right one. No. So the thing is, whatever you open, the open number of brackets must be equal to close number of brackets, right? So here you see, this is the starting bracket. This is ended right here, right? So this is actually the total main function. This is the closing of whole class. This is how it should look like. If I miss any of these brackets, it will show the error right away. So if you hover over it, it says syntax error, insert this whatever is missing. So if you insert it, it will be gone. So just always remember that the number of opening left flower brackets must be equal to the number of right flower brackets in the whole test. Just put a right flower bracket. That's it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is reusable functions again. So we are going to create a reusable function and call it in the test. That's a proper way, because in the automation framework we have to use that way. All right. Okay, so I'm going to create new class in the library, because everybody has library and test packages, right? So in the library package, if you do not have library package, create one, because that's how we are going to proceed from now on. So library package, right click on it and create a new class, and let's call this loops demo because it should contain the reusable functions inside it. Okay, so it created loops demo. Now
Package name is library package or class?
package name is library. Okay, I think here something is blurry here. So this is the library, right? And in the library, I created a loops demo just now, loops demo. And in the test, we are going to call it just like before. It's not
So yeah, here JIRA system library, this one.
yeah, JR system library, don't touch it because it's a default handle. So in source, right click, source is your main package, and create a library inside source library package.
Package, right?
Package, yeah. So call it library. I'll just show you here. I think now you can see it clearly. Source library, and then create loops demo and test whatever test we are going to call it. Simple.
Library
Then create a class called loops demo because it's going to work as a loops reusable functions library.
That's the loop.
Right, loops demo. Everybody should have two packages. One is library package, one is test package. Okay. In the source, yeah, your packages, but your package com.example. Don't go to com.example.here. This means com is a package in which there is example package, in which there is hello package. Why to make it complicated? I mean, in the online examples, it's suffer like that. So let's create two simple packages in the source. One is library. Let's call it library. Library. Yeah, library. And finish it. Okay. Now create one more package called test. Yeah, in the source one. No, package is on the top. Yeah. So let's call this test. Test. Yeah. So. So.
money is a source of
Okay, so now this is a package. So setting so in the test, in the source, always create a package inside the source. Create a package called library. And one test. Right click. Let's call this test. Yeah. So yeah. So in the library, what we are going to do is we are going to create a class for the loops. Let's create a package. Oh, sorry, not package. Class. I'll call this loops demo. That's what we are going to write. Anybody has any questions so far?
We're going to get class in the library, right?
Yeah, so you. But are they in the package? Package must just expand source. Yeah, you are putting everything in the default package. So create two packages. One is library, one is test. Because the packages are important because you cannot put everything or dump everything in one package. Like I told you. It's gonna create confusion later. So create two packages.
The modifier will be public.
No, public is fine. Public, yeah. No, that's okay. Go with the default. Do not touch anything. It's all fine. Don't put the main here because that's not content. Which is going to content. Just function inside this library test. That's what I think. That's what we are doing, right? Loops demo and loops test. Yeah, you're perfect. So now let's write a reusable function for this one loops demo. So I'm going to call just same thing, modification. Okay. Now write a reusable function that accepts. Okay, so this is same, but we are going to approach in a different way. That's all, so that I can proceed further. Write a reusable function that accepts max number and prints integers till that number. Okay, everybody got it? This is a reusable function that accepts the max number as a parameter, okay, and prints whatever. Whenever you call, it should print starting from 1 till that number. So the number of max number is your choice. At the time of calling, I'll determine it. Okay, so same as first example I showed you, but in a little different way, using a reusability concept. This is more important for automation. That's why I am emphasizing on this. Okay. Okay, I'll actually break it down here. Till that number. So the max number previously we determined 500, 100, right? So I should be able to pass that number from the calling time. So you know what I mean. So this is a reusability concept. So it's not static. It should be dynamic totally. Okay. So is the same simple example. First example in a reusability concept. Okay. I'm combining reusability concept with the first example. So you will get it. Don't worry. Okay. So how will I create a reusable function? Public method. I have to create public void. Public means public because I should be able to access this function outside the class. Void because it doesn't have a return type.
That's like a formula?
Not formula, it's a syntax. Okay. Same thing. Okay, you can call it a chemical formula. Syntax is Java. In Java, syntax is like a formula, right? So let's print integers, right? So I am just going to call this function name. The function name must start with small letter. Print integers. Okay, simple. And I am going to accept some argument. Okay, it would be integer max number. Okay, same as first example, but little different way. Okay.
When you break down the when you write down and that's a breakdown, you should
put a double slash again. Right. Yeah. Otherwise, it will be treated as executable. This means it's non-executable. The green color means it's a comment which will not be executed. Okay. So now let's type the same thing. This out. Now integers from 1 through what? Max number, whatever the max number is. So it's totally dynamic. Max number, and I'm going to write some nice comment. That's it. Okay. So this is how it will look like. Then I'm going to write a for loop, because for loop is where I have to repeatedly do something. So for integer I is equal to 1, that's the starting point, and I less than or equal to, now tell me what is this? I less than or equal to max number.
Max number.
Yeah, instead of 500, I'm putting the dynamic number, whatever is the dynamic number. Less than or equal to is one sign. So okay. So now what should I do? Simply sysout. Sysout control space I. This is a reusable function, more dynamic, so that whatever max number I want to pass, I can pass it from the test. So this is a reusable function, right? This exists in the library. Now I am going to test package. I think if you're not able to see the blurry thing, okay, I'm going to do it like this. See, loops demo has reusable function, and I'm coming to test. In the test, I created a loops test. Okay, just like before. Okay. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to call it. How can I call some function from other class?
Go to the function.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the function. This is the function.
Next number. What's the process here?
That's what I'm asking. So in order to call method from loops demo. Okay. So if you want to call any methods from other class, you have to instantiate it. So loops demo.
Next number.
Let's call it LD, loops demo, shortcut for LD, equals new loops demo. So I am actually creating an object of loops demo. That is called instantiation. Now it will show underscore red line and you have to hover over it and import it. Okay, import. Now it will be gone. So it will actually add this import line. That means, hey, I want to access some methods in the library packages loops demo class. Then that means it is importing so that you can access whatever methods are variable inside it without any problem. Now ld dot, right? Now what is the method that we just now created inside that loops demo?
Next number.
Print integers, right? Yeah. Now it will ask you max number. Okay, now I want to print numbers from 1 through, let's say, 10,000. Okay, so now that option is there. Now you can call again, you can pass whatever number. So let's try to run this. So
you go loops demo to loops test now.
Loops demo is called inside the loop test. Okay, so these are all very basic. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to run these. So I'll just comment it, so that we don't want to see that output because it will confuse. So comment will not run it. So let's directly run print integers 1 through 10,000. So now I'll right click, run as Java application. Now it will run only those numbers. Integers from 1 through 10,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 and 10,000. You can actually maximize it if you want to see. Yeah, there is 10,000 line below. Okay, so now
one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I missed like the beginning of the class, but did you make the test like loops?
Yeah, so you did not miss anything. So all I did was initially I created a loop test, right, directly, and we started looking at how to print numbers from 1 through 100 using a simple for loop. So I took the same example and we created a reusable function for it. Instead of direct test, I created a reusable function. So the logic is important in this. Logically, how do you print something repeatedly? Obviously, I have to use a for loop, right? So I want to repeatedly do something from 1 through max number. That max number should be in my control. Whatever max number I will pass during the runtime, that should be the max number, right? So that's why I created a parameter called max number. So this is a totally dynamic way. And if I actually call this from this test, if I want to call any other methods from other class, what should I do? I have to create an instance of it. This is called instantiation. Now this is an object of loops demo. Using this object LD dot operator, I will be able to access all the methods inside this loops demo. So print integers is one of the methods I created just now. Now it will ask one parameter because I accept one parameter, which is integer. What is a parameter? I just want to print numbers from 1 through 10,000. Okay. Now it will print. Now if I want to change 10,000 to, let's say, only 2,500. Okay. So what that means is, without creating the function, without writing the program again, just by changing the number, I will be able to execute it and get my output. You know what I mean? If I want to write the program again 1 through, let's say 5,000, I have to write this piece of code again, right? That is waste of time. So reusable function enables you to just call that function and pass whatever you want to pass, but still get the desired output. So now let's run it, and it will only print numbers from 1 through 2,500. So your output is dynamic without having to create the function every time, just by calling. Okay. So if I want to call another time, okay, I can call ld dot. LD is the object, dot is the operator. Okay. Now what is the function we just now created? Print integers. Max number. Okay. So I want to print only till 100. So that is possible again. So I can call multiple times. Okay. So the advantage of reusable function is you can call the function any number of times without having to create the piece of code again and again.
Okay.
Now let's say if you want to change something in this function, so just press control and click on it. You will jump to the definition. Okay. Now let's say okay, there is a spelling mistake, inters. Okay. So I want to just integers. Okay. So what is the advantage here? Let's say I made a mistake in the function. All I need to do is just go to the function and change it. Okay. If I create this function 100 times, I have to correct this 100 times, which is a basically waste of time. So that is another advantage. Huh? This is a full screen.
I mean,
Okay, you want to go like this? Okay.
no. I want to see the rest of the
Full
code.
screen.
Yes. Integers from 1 to
1 to that's the
Max number. Okay. So
just
okay. So ask me questions. Any questions you have right now? Everybody is able to see, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the simple example of a reusable function that would do some repeatable operation using a for loop. Okay, so this is the simplest program. If you don't understand fully, ask me right now because we are going to complicate the things from now onwards. Everybody is okay with the example or something?
Second.
Yeah.
So can you help me here? I think I'm a little lost. I mean,
Public void is okay. Integer max number. Okay, you are getting an error. Let's see. Okay, so you are directly without creating a class, you are putting a library. See, compare this. So package library is there. You are missing public class loops demo. So you cannot put a method outside the class. You have to create the class. So when you create a class, where is the class? So let's create a class again. In the library, right click on it. It will automatically create a class definition. So class and create a class name, give a class name. All this loops demo. Right. And just print finished. Now what it created is package library class loops demo. Though inside this you put that function, whatever function was correct, but it was outside the class. That was the problem. Exactly follow that. That has to be the structure. Package declaration, class declaration, then method declaration, then method definition inside it. That is the hierarchy. For EPA testing. What is the problem? Where is it? Just so otherwise you put the dynamic version, right? Like using dollar symbol. I don't know the syntax. Or go to Maven site. But you can put what is the latest version. Maven in Python. Maven, type the JSON. Right. So did you run the, build it? You should download this JSON and put it in the .m2 package, right, in the repository. And the version has to be, so just type in Google Maven org.json. So it will show the correct version. JSON. Maven space JSON org.json. Just going back. You can go to Maven site, yeah, Maven repository. Now you can copy this. Come down. on that. That was top. That is the latest. Yeah. Yeah, you can copy paste it. Okay, so everybody is okay with this example?
No, it's my.
So loops demo must contain this function.
Oh,
Loops test must call this. So you cannot run the loops demo because it doesn't have main. So go to loops test.
so I need to.
Yeah, you have to go to loops test. So this is just a function, right? So function cannot run by itself. Just for definition I created. But if you want to run this, go to the loops test. Where I called it, you should be calling like this. This is a runnable statement. Loops demo LD is equal to new loops demo. Then using LD, I access this function. So now you right click in this and run as Java application.
Someone getting an error.
Print integer. Okay, that is fine. That is fine. So I less than equal to max number.
Yes, I got that.
Okay, max numbers should be max numbers. Now go to whichever class you are running it from. It doesn't have to be same thing. Loops test. You can call it arithmetic.
Okay.
Yeah. So that. Okay. Now let's do the same thing for the other one. So even numbers. Now write the same function for even numbers and odd numbers.
In loops demo, right?
Loops demo, right?
Okay.
Same way. This will be practice for you. Okay. So now you write a function for same thing. Okay, everybody. Function to print even numbers. Okay. From true to max number. So the max number has to be my choice. So make it as a parameter and write it. Similar to the one before, no change, just logic. And call it in the loop test and run it. So first one is this is the function, right? You cannot run it obviously.
This is function library.
So okay, let's see. Still you're getting errors. Class test, okay. Print integer system dot import system.
No. So demo is never run and test is run, right?
Yeah, this is library, but you still getting red color. Is that okay? Oh, these are okay. Okay. Why you are getting these errors? I don't know. You are in Java. Where is the library? This is the library.
Yeah, library.
Library loops. Oh yeah, create the function inside this library. Create the function inside the loops demo.
Okay, on the out. I think I'm doing it.
No, that's system
Oh,
already is fine. Max number
match.
Copy paste. Oh, plus is missing. Plus. Every time you concatenate string with the integer, you have to use a plus. And semicolon. Every statement must end with a semicolon. And that's it. So now you call this function inside the test. Inside here. So where is the test? Test has to be in the test package, right? So did you create the test package? No. Create one. No. Just like library, right click on the source. Right click on the source package. Otherwise, it will create somewhere. Right click on the source package. Yes. Source package. SRC is source. Okay. Right click and new, and then create a package. Now call this test package. So in the test, no, don't write package again. Test package automatically is package. Just package. Right. Package is just. Okay. So now. Oh, you didn't. Okay. So in the test package. Okay, it automatically created info. That's okay. Forget about it. In the right click test again. Right click test. Create a class. New class. Class. Okay, now call this loops test. Loops test and select this public static void main. Public static void main, click finish. And then you have to call that loops demo. So you have to call this, you have to instantiate this loops demo variable. Library. From library you instantiate it. No. Instantiate, okay. This is the code you have to write. So when you write a function, in order to call it, you have to create like this loops demo, LD is equal to new loops demo. So this is the instantiation. This is very important.
So what
Okay.
is
You have to write this.
this is in test?
In test, yes. See, it is in test. So whatever is in, it is selected here. Loops test has this loops demo loops test. Okay, so loops demo, I gave you one more example, function to write print even numbers. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to. Okay, any questions?
Sangam, I have a question about the loop test. I have to choose private, public void.
Yeah, public is fine. Public access modifier is better.
But
Because
not
you
void.
want it.
I don't choose not void, right? Public void.
By default, it will be public. So you make
Yeah.
every function public. That is recommended.
Okay.
You are getting these errors because you are not putting the comment. This is the commentable line, right? So always do public static. So that it knows. Public static. Static is fine, but okay. So you can create static. Public static void print integers has to be one word. Because print integers. If you want to, yeah, if you still want a space, use underscore. Just like a Gmail ID, you cannot have space, right? So this is better. And this has to be integer, right? So inter space. Now the space is equal, not before. Now this is a function. Function must not end with the semicolon. The function must start and end with the flower bracket. Now this flower bracket is ended. Now you have to end this flower bracket also. So one more flower bracket. Okay. Now system out print and integers to max numbers. That is fine. So let's not complicate this. So let's put it here. And I is equal to 1, I less than equal to max number, I plus plus, print I. Okay. So what is the mistake here? I. Oh, you are using for loop. For loop initialize max number. So, oh, again, for loop should not end with semicolon. You already ended semicolon. Now it is so now this is over. Now you have to write a test. So in the test, create a new class again. So let's call this loop test and select this because you want to execute something. Public static void using that. So loop test public. Yeah, loop test. Test would indicate you are actually running something. Test. Yes, and finish it.
Sanam?
Yeah, 1 second. So now you have to call this function, right, from library. So I will show you how to do this. Just look at the projector. And I'll show you. 1 second, so that yeah. So now you do this thing. This is the instantiation, and this is how you execute it, calling, right? Okay.
This is the reusable function.
Public print even numbers, okay, perfect. So sys out even numbers, perfect. I2, I less than equal to even numbers, I plus plus should be I. Oh, you are using if condition, perfect. I divided by 2 equals 0, perfect. Yeah, now call. So are you able to see 2, 4? Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so some students have completed. You can't run. I think still some people are getting a problem. Okay, test is a problem, right? So you created a function. In the test, you have to do this, something like this. Otherwise, you will not.
That's the library name or what?
No, this is the class name. Loops demo, in which I created a function called print integers, right? So I'll show you again. Loops demo is class name in which there is a method function, right? Now in the loops test, I had to create an instance of loops demo. This is the signature. Loops demo LD equal new loops demo. Without doing this, you cannot even access.
Oh, yes, sir. The value looks demo.
So loops demo object is LD. So using this object, I can access whatever functions methods inside it. So one of which is print integers, and I am passing the max number.
LD is default, or we can rename it.
You can rename it according to you. What is your function name? What is your class name? Depends on test. You're getting errors. Why you are getting all these errors?
This is on Waterfall.
So this is a library. Library is fine. Only test is problem, right?
Demo, I did code.
Okay. So test. What you don't have to do this in test. This test is demo, right? Okay. So loops demo. Oh, you have to put that in. So this is a code. Must go inside this. Demo means it's a reusable function. That's why it is in library.
That should be the regular function.
Okay, so now go not declare. Okay, now system. Why you are written this system? Not of Java type. So when I import it, it's not imported. Right. So let's type it. Let's call this Java.
both need
Section.
अच्छा और फोन और फोन बता
And Java section you create new packages. Package is called one is library. Right? And one is S. Now inside the library I create a class. One is called loops demo. Alright. And in the test I create a test called loops test. And this will contain the public static. This is a basic structure. Okay, so now it is done. Now I go to loops demo, and whatever you have written here, I put it inside. Again, this is showing error here. I do multiple markers.
Print out from 1 to next number here. Number next number जानी ना print
Not any program work fine. This way, this one. So that is I mean,
even numbers plus even numbers plus the number even numbers for even number show even number
Can you create the project inside, not outside of the virtual machine? Because virtual machine is a problem inside. Directly in your laptop, you create a project. Virtual machine is a problem. It goes in you. So loops demo is right. So you have to import this. See, if you get any error, just hover over it and see read the suggestions. Now, fine, but one more error.
Oh, that's
We can take a
So you are commenting this portion, but you did not comment. So this is not how you comment. What you have to do is you have to select the whole thing which you want to comment. Right? Click here. Control shift backslash. Control shift backslash. Now it is commented.
I can see
Now you run this.
okay. So can focus the package type. which आगे जब मैं package to एक package का
Loops demo, loops demo. Okay. So
हम लेके नहीं आते अब हम लेके अच्छा है
the error is here. Okay. So you are creating something, right? You haven't finished it. Now it's
वो आलादा का लाइब्रेरी से में इनपुट कर देता है
Oh, so it's like what happens to connection with the text, right?
So now you have to write one more function for even numbers. So everybody is fine with this one. Okay, so you write this one. What you write? You know LD is LD or LD, you know? Okay, so we are creating one more function for even integers. Public void even numbers, let's call this, and I will accept integer max number. Okay, let's call this max. So I'll just print whatever I'm printing, even numbers, and for loop is required because we are doing some reusable operation. Integer I equals to 2 is the starting point because first integer is first even number is 2 and I is less than or equal to max because that until that max number I want to print it, and the increment should be same as before, I is equal to I plus 2, but let's put I plus plus because I want to put a if condition inside it, and if I modulo operator 2 equals 0, then that particular number is said to be divisible by 2, so that's a even number. So now I'll print it. Print what? Print I. Okay. That's it. So now the function definition is over. Same thing. Now if I want to access this function, what I'll do is I'll go to the loops test and simply using ld dot even numbers. Okay. So I'll call it, and max number whatever I want to pass, like 100. I'll pass it. So if I run it, it will run the even numbers. Same thing here. These are all the even numbers. Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8 till 100.
Can I copy the
Yeah, sure. Okay. So go to the loops demo and write this function. This is called a reusable function for printing the even numbers till max number. So the only difference between before and this one is this is a reusable function. So the advantages are I can modify in this function just one time and just apply to the multiple times wherever it is called. Also, I can call this many times. Yeah.
If anything is error, when it is error, then it will take on. There is one. You need to write the code.
बार-बार আপনার পছন্দ বারবার করবে বারবার লিখবে বারবার ওই যে সফটওয়্যার বানাতে কোনো আচ্ছা লুপ মানে আউটপুট আপনার ল্যাব রিডিং বলছে তো
Loop মানে lab in a way, just lab.
Okay, so everybody's got it right, even number. So I'll give little more complicated. So you should be able to understand till this point. Otherwise, you will not proceed further. Okay, so now let's write the last example. The last class I gave you one example, right? Function to determine the maximum of given numbers, okay, in an array. Okay, so this is little bit difficult, but if you want to take a simple example first, I can do so. Are you? So I will give one array, something like this, integer array. Okay, integer x equals, this has some numbers. Let's say 2, 4, 1, 77, and 123, and one negative number. Let's say this. Okay. Out of these integer numbers, you have to choose the maximum. So obviously, what is the maximum? 77, right? So you have to write a program that will print the maximum in an array. That is a task. You understood the task, right? So you have to create a reusable function just like this, but it has to print only the maximum, whatever the maximum number is. Okay, I will pass this integer array from wherever I call this in this loops test. Okay. Okay, now just try yourself. Don't worry if you don't get the answer. Just try, even if you make mistakes, that's fine. So this will be passed just like integer max. I will pass integer array. That's an argument, and the logic should be, it should pick whatever is the maximum number inside it. So the reason I am passing integer array is I can pass, last time example I showed you two numbers, right? I passed two numbers, integer a and integer b, and ask you to write which picks the maximum number. So you created if condition, if a is greater than b, blah blah blah. That is okay. So do you want me to show that example first and come to this? Okay, that's what I was thinking. I'll go slowly, or otherwise I'll jump. Okay, so let's go slowly. Let's postpone this for time being. So last time I showed you this example, but I'll repeat it. So this will actually determine function to choose max out of, let's say, 3 numbers. Okay, because 2 numbers is too easy. Or do you want me to show 2 numbers? 2 numbers is fine.
No, 3.
Okay, it's your size. 3 numbers is little bit difficult, but let's write. Okay, so now let's write the function public void maximum, and this time I have to accept 2 integers, integer a comma integer b. Whatever 2 integers I'll pass, it has to pick the maximum out of it. Simple as that. Okay, so obviously if condition, correct? If you want to compare 2 numbers, you have to use if condition. If a is greater than b, then sys out max is, what is the max? A. Simple. Now what about the other one? When is the other condition would apply? Else part, right? Else sys out max is correct. So this is very simplest example. If you understand this, you will be able to write, at least attempt. Okay, now this is a reusable function. Now let's call this from where? From the loops demo, loops test. Okay, ld dot maximum, and I will pass 23 comma 43. Let's, okay, obviously we know that 43 is max. Let's see if it works or not. So the max is 43. Perfect. Okay, now simple example for you guys. Now you write a function to choose minimum out of 3 numbers, right? Okay, let's modify this. Sorry, So let's put one more integer c. Now, how would we modify this? If a is greater than b and a is greater than c, then a is a max. Else, if I'm just modifying the same thing. So observe this. If b is greater than a and b is greater than c, then max is b. What is the leftover condition? You are leaving on? Okay.
Yeah, I need to be there.
Sure, yeah. See you later.
Yeah, shit.
Else condition is, what is else condition? If c is greater than a and c is greater than b, right? That I don't have to specify. Obviously, the max leftover is c. Okay. Now let's call this. Okay. So obviously, when it will throw error because you're only passing two numbers. Okay. Now it will show the max out of 3. Max is 43, obviously. Okay. So let's put minus. Now what would be the max number? 12. So let's run and see. Max is okay. Now there is a mistake. Now what I will do is I will jump to the function and see. So what did I do is, the mistake is c is inside the quotes. Okay. So I had to put this outside the quotes. That is a mistake. So that's the advantage of reusable function. If I want to correct anything, I'll just correct once and it is applied multiple times. I mean, even if I'm calling this multiple times, I don't have to correct it multiple times. So that is advantage. Now, boom, max is 12. Okay. Now what you're going to do is simple change function to choose minimum out of 3 numbers. Okay. So if you are able to write this, that means we can proceed for this. Okay. Now everybody start right. Yeah, you can type this. Okay. You can just start typing in your own program.
After doing this, we'll bring out.
Correct. Yeah. You first take the notes. I mean, use in your Eclipse. You type the maximum function, then write the minimum function, so that you will. You can refer to that later.
You're recording the class.
The class is being recorded, so you don't worry. It will be shared. I think it is recorded. If you don't want recorded, oh, I think it is recorded. Right? Okay, but take your notes, take the picture, but just attempt to write the minimum function so that I will see what your progress is. And everybody should write the function minimum because this is the minimum easiest function. Or you can directly see the maximum function and simultaneously write the minimum function because it will be the same, right? Anyway, the session is being recorded. Don't worry, you can refer to that later. Just focus on doing the homework.
How now I done this one, this, and how I call this now.
Just instantiate it. Loops demo. Instantiate the loops demo. This is the function, right? This function must, if you want to access this function, you have to instantiate loop demo in the loops test. So loops test. Okay, you are not going to write this in the loops test. We are avoiding that. Okay, that's a basic thing. Now, how do you
write down in this loop demo?
In the main function, loops demo ld equals new loops demo. Okay. So now just import this and you can access whatever you want. ld dot. Now access print integers. And same thing for the others. Print it over here. Double click. Okay. Now pass the max number and run it. So this is the runnable class. No, pass some number. You have to pass some number. Literally, you have to pass some number. Okay. Control S, save it, and right click and run it.
Or you can hear.
You can run it that way also. Okay. So that will print. So same thing for the other. Okay, I think you have to come out of the world.
Which one I have to download?
Yeah, download 8 point something. Yeah, that is the latest 8.
So put
Because
That's why
time.
I stopped.
Yeah. So virtual machine has some problems, so don't use that. Correct. Form file, right?
But it is clear. I think they have a own job and they keep in C drive and product and they keep.
No, that's not.
So that is
No. So here, what happens? Here, the project is going to be run from the runner file, and then this runner file, the runner is looking for that JSON file in that bus path. C0, but this is not a project folder. Project
Okay.
folder under the user. But
Did you set the class path in the environment?
I didn't say he input it.
so that jar should be in the bucket.
So if Bitbucket is right?
Yeah.
Without for the configuration.
They just import it from the Git repository using the Git Bitbucket. So Bitbucket has the URL, Bitbucket.
Right.
Then you import it under the
Just like stash.
So
Yeah.
so this is the project, real project.
right. So here, if you go here, you can copy the URL. You did copy it, like that.
So do it again.
Do the fresh one.
The fresh one, do it again.
Yeah. Reclone it.
Go to copy URL.
Equal to same.
No, yeah. And go to Git repository. Right click, go empty place. Go to URL. Then
I can create maybe a new project.
so location you can change it also.
Yeah. Not exactly the other.
Okay, so what's the question?
I will return in my plan. Minimum.
Okay. Okay.
But the minimum is
Okay, so that's also work. Okay, let's go to the other example. If everybody is able to do the minimum, then we'll talk. Simple. Minimum is just reverse simple. Instead of greater than less than. That's it. Max will be replaced by minimum and less than. That's it. Simple will be reverse. That's it. So you write it. Okay. So
I'm writing.
okay. So if you want me to write, everybody online can understand the question. Are you able to proceed, or you want me to write? All you have to do is just change the symbol from greater than to less than and change maximum to minimum. That's all. Minimum of ABC. So if A is less than B and A is less than C, then minimum is A. Obviously, right? Minimum is A. If B is less than A and B is less than C, then minimum is B. Other means C, obviously. So that's as simple as it. So now I'm going to call the minimum function from here. LD dot minimum. And if I pass, let's say 0, comma -2, comma -123, what is the minimum out of this? -123. So it will print. Okay, so now let's go to the complex program. So function that accepts the array. Okay, array you already know, right? So do you want me to give little bit introduction about arrays again?
I don't have array.
Okay, so array I'll give again brief introduction because it's important. So what I'll do is I will go to the different. Okay, or I'll create new test, array test. That's easiest. So I'm creating a new array test so that it acts as the introduction for array. Okay, so in this, just like we normally create a variable declaration, right? Integer a and initialize it with 23. So likewise, if I have multiple integers, then simply you put bracket open bracket close and x call it. Okay, this is an array. A is an integer, but x is an array. Now, how do I initialize it? Just like 23. Yes, I can initialize using multiple values because by definition array contains multiple values. So I can initialize with 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 0, okay, minus 12, something like this. Okay, so that means array has all these elements 1, 2, 3, not just one, multiple elements. Okay, everybody pay attention to here, array. Okay, now how can I access the integer? I can access directly, right? So for example, if I want to sys out integer value. Okay, so how can I access a? Simply by calling a, as simple as that, right? This will print 23. How can I access or print all the elements in array? Now obviously this looks like a repeatable operations, right? Repeatable operations are required, and whenever we need to do something repeatedly, we have to put that inside the for loop. Same thing. So for arrays, you must use a for loop. Okay, so for integer I equals to 0, I less than some condition. So until what condition I have to put? Okay, so before this 1 is nothing but x is 0. Okay, so this is how the values will be allocated inside an array. X0, starting index is 0, equals to 1. Okay, and x1 first index will be 2. This is 0th index, then 1. Okay. No, I'm showing you how it will be allocated. This is just for your understanding. Don't worry. Okay. So this is how it goes. Blah 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 blah. Then x 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last is 6. 6 equals to minus 12. Okay, go on.
Okay, so food is set for 1 instead of 0.
Okay, that is up to Java. Java already determined that. Okay, it has to start from 0. We did not do that. This is not our control. So this is whoever wrote Java, they already determined that the starting index is 0. That's no change. We are not questioning that at all. So now the length of this array is the total number of elements inside it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the length will be length, length will be 7. Okay, and the inside array elements will be allocated like this. Okay, inside this, just for your understanding I wrote this. Now how do I know the length of the array? Okay, the starting position is 0, right? Because its index is 0 starting. Okay, that's why I started my for loop from 0. Now it has to go until the last element, and the last element will be length, right? So length, but the last element should be indexed with 6, not 7, because it starts from 0, because 0 is counted. So length minus 1 is the last index. So I have to go to the last index. That's why I did not put the less than or equal to. I put the less than only. Now x dot length function will return this 7. So it will go till 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stop. 7 is not accessed. Now every time what is the increment? Same thing, I plus plus. Okay. Now whatever I put, it will access all the elements in array. So I'll just print what? Xi. because the elements inside are allocated like this, x0, x1. So I is ranging from 0 to 6, 0 to 6. So that's why I have to print xi. Now let's just print it and see. Integer value a. Now the next thing we are printing is this out array values. Okay, so now let's see. This will give you idea how the array will operate. Okay, so array values are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 0, minus 12. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 0, minus 12. Okay, now you have an idea how the array mechanism is working. Okay, now you can access, there are a lot of functions, it's built-in functions. Okay, like if you want to find out the length of an array, simply array name dot length, okay, will return it. And there are many methods. Okay, all you have to do is just x dot. Okay, so all you have to do is x dot and you can access this to string and all those. But let's apply this array concept to our homework here. Now I want to choose the maximum out of this array. Okay, so that's a question. We have already known or written maximum function out of given 3 numbers. Okay, now I don't know how many numbers I have because my array is like this, and I will be passing this array from the runtime. Okay, so I don't know it. I might pass array with 100 elements or 20 elements or 1 element. Okay, so I don't have control. So we must write a function that is out of the box, like generic function. Okay, now let's go to the logic. First we'll create the function public void. Okay, let's call it greatest number in array. Okay, because I want to be a little different. Okay, we already use the name minimum maximum. Let's keep it this way, and this must accept what? Integer array, not just integer. So integer x, let's call it. Okay, so this is actually taking an array as a argument. Okay, now all the logic goes inside here. Okay, now you tell me how the logic should apply. Obviously, when you're dealing with for loop, dealing with an array, you have to put a for loop, right? So let's write the for loop first, okay, so that we can proceed. For integer, what is the starting index for an array? 0. So I must start my for loop with 0, and I less than, what should be the maximum? So x dot length, it has to go till the length, whatever the length is. I don't know, so I'll just go till the length, and I plus plus. Okay, so now we have at least set the down for the for loop. Okay, now I have to choose the maximum, right? Now maximum, this is the logic, so I have to compare this. If 2 is greater than 4, then 2 is the maximum. If 2 is less than 4, 4 is the maximum. Okay, now I'll compare these two. 4 is greater than 1, 4 is the maximum. Yes, 4 is maximum. Now I'll compare 4 and 77. If out of 4 and 77, 77 is the maximum. Now I'll compare 77 with 23. 77 is greater than 23, so 77 is the maximum. Now 77 is greater than minus 121, false. So 77 is the maximum again. So finally I'll just print 77. That is the logic, right? Now I have to write the same logic in terms of Java. Okay, so first I had to initialize the value integer maximum, max. Okay, so let's create the max, and what I have to do is every time I have to compare xi. What is xi? Xi starts from x0. So that's exactly what I did manually. First I took this, I compared with something. So what should I compare it with? Okay, so first of all I have to start comparing with the minimum value of an integer. What is the minimum value of an integer? The range of integer is from minus 2 billion to plus 2 billion. I told you, right, in the beginning. So I'll take that as the maximum, because whatever is greater than that, obviously that will be maximum, because I'm comparing to the least value an integer can accept. So how do I know that what is the least value? So you don't have to remember that. Integer class already has it, integer dot. So let's access this. Integer dot min value. So you see here, right? So if you hover over it, it will show you the actual value. So in the beginning class I showed you, right? Short, byte, int. So this is the minimum value, minus 2,147,830 something. Okay. So this is the minimum value, least value an integer can accept. If you go minimum than that, it will throw error right away, because integer has some range, and that is from minus 2 billion something to plus 2 billion something. So I am taking max of that number, and I will compare if xi is greater than that max number. If, okay, I'll put if condition and compare this with the maximum. If this is true, then my max is what? Xi, correct? If xi is greater than the max, which is the least of integers, then obviously my maximum is xi. So this will be repeated. So for example, first 2, okay, x0 is 2 is greater than max. Is it greater than max? Yes, because the minimum value is minus 2 billion. That is obviously minus number. 2 is greater than any minus number, right? Because it's positive. So my first max is x2, xi, x0. Okay. Now hold on to that. Now I'll come to the x1, the next increment. I is equal to I plus 1, x1. Now what I'll compare x1 with previous max. What is x1? 4. Okay, so is 4 greater than 2? That will be compared. Previous max is x0, right? So the max is x0 now, and 4 is the x1. So x1 is greater than max. Is it true or not? The previous max is 2 and 4 is greater than 2. True or false? True. So now current max is equal to x1. What is x1? 4. So that will be fixed there. Now come to the for loop back. Now I will be incremented by 1. So right now I value is 2. Now I2 is greater than max. What is the previous max? 4, right? 1 is greater than 4. True or false? False. 1 is not greater than 4. So it won't set the max. Again, come back to this. Now I will be incremented to 3. What is the 3? 77. Now previous max is 4, right? 7 is xi. X3 is greater than max. That means is 77 greater than 4? Yes. Now current max will be replaced with 77. So max is equal to x3, which is 77. Current max is 77. Now again come back to for loop. It will be incremented to 4. Okay. So now I value is 4. What is the x4? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 23. Okay. Is 23 greater than the previous max? No. 23 is not greater than 77. So skip this. If it is not satisfied, it will come out of the if condition. Go to the for loop back. I plus plus. Now I value is 5. Correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 121. Okay. So xi, x5 is minus 127 is greater than previous max 77. Is it true? No. So the last max value which remained was 77. Now I have to print 77 outside the for loop. Just once. That's it. Sys out max out of array equals to what is the last max? Is max. Whatever the max is, it will print. That's it. So it will determine the final max and print it once. If I put it inside the for loop, it will print all the maxes. I don't want that. I want to print this at the very end. Whatever is the last max, it will print it. So now did everybody understand this logic? It's simple comparison. That's all. First time comparing with the least value so that my max is initialized first. Then I am comparing each and every value one by one until the length is reached. Okay. So wherever the last max is there, it is sticking to that, and that will be printed at the very end. So let's try and see if it's working. Okay. So how should I call this? LD dot. What is the function name? Greatest numbers, right? Yeah. Now, how do you pass an array? You have to pass an array, right? So you have to first declare an array. So my integer, you can declare in 2 ways. This is one way, or I can just declare it like integer a, bracket open, bracket close, Now it can contain any values. So I'll start with -23, 0, 23, 44. Okay, let's put like this. Okay, and let's see now if it. Okay, now what should I pass here? Simply A, because A is an integer, right? Integer array, and it already has some values. Now it is passed. Okay, now let's run it and see if it is able to find out the greatest value of the integers. So max out of the array is 56,565. So it's perfect. Okay, so don't worry if you do not understand completely. All you have to do is go and see, logically think, like just like I explained you before. You go and see and debug it. I'll show you. But for the time being, use the same technique and write a function to determine minimum of given numbers in an array. Okay, it is quite opposite to that. Just like you did before, in this example, you just have to role reverse it. Okay. Okay. So now try to write this. Look at this and just write it, and we will understand it again. So if you don't understand completely, that's fine, because you're not supposed to understand. So we will understand again and see. Okay, so you can just type it in Notepad, or you can refer to the.
This is all the things that yes, Java being
Try again.
You did Java before?
Yeah, I did all of it is working, at least SoapUI is not working, right? That is okay. Project name is okay. Package name is okay. Now create a class and just like simple SoapUI. Yeah, if it is working, then you can proceed. Otherwise, you have to.
years ago, level 30.
No, this is a class name. So and yeah, that's okay. And extra requirement include and then write some SysOp, simple SysOp. Hopefully it will work. Simple SysOp. You know that.
ওটা কি জানা লাগবে
আমার অনেক ক্লিয়ার আছে না
Okay, so everybody is okay. So first thing you have to do for minimum array is you have to compare with the maximum value, correct? We will actually debug and go step by step the way I explained, so that you will understand even better step by step. Yeah, so if xi is less than minimum, then xi is the minimum. That's it. Simple. Minimum is the minimum. Run it and see. Perfect. So now, yeah. Yep. That's perfect. Okay, so this actually illustrates three things in the same example. One is a for loop, other is a condition, array. So we mixed all the things and put it in an example. So okay, so let's debug and see. So because some students have finished the other example, everybody online can understand this. So let's call this a least number, and all I have to put is the minimum. I am setting the first minimum as the max value. The max value is obviously it's plus 2 billion or something. So minimum is whatever is compared to that will obviously the minimum. So that's why I'm initializing with that and use the same logic. Only thing is switch to the less than symbol. Okay, so in just to understand this, what I'll do is I'll put a debug point here, okay, somewhere. Okay, so instead of running, I am debugging right now so that we can see how the values of min in the array are changing as we go by. Okay, so let me put it like this. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to step into current min value is max in integer can accept, right? So plus 2 billion. Okay. Now as I go by, first I index is starting from 0. Okay, because that is a starting point, and minus 23. Okay, so if you know, if first number is minus 20 is a minimum for minus 23. Can you see what is the array? What is the array? Because I don't have access.
Which one?
The second example.
Second example, minus 23.
Minus 20 is the first value in array.
18.
Okay, so minimum value is set to minus 23. Let's go to the code. Somehow this perspective is okay. So somehow this perspective, okay. So I can go like this. Oops, demo array test. Okay, array test. Okay, so there we go. But way I'm calling in loop test. Okay, loop test. Yeah, minus 20. This is what I wanted. So minus 23 is the first max, first min. Correct. I'm actually debugging on the least number. So minus 20 is minus 23 is less than plus 2 billion. True or false? True. Because minus is always less than positive number. So my first minimum value is 23. Okay, that's how it is set. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, now if I go, just keep a look on to other what is the array values are. Okay, now I is equal to 1. Okay, because the for loop incremented from I is equal to 0 to I plus plus, now 1. What is the AI now? The array value AI, A1 is, what is the A1? You look at the array, you look at the code, because I'm in a different perspective. Tell me that number. What is the A1? A0 is minus 23. Now minus 23 will be compared. Is it less than the A1? What is the A1? Look at your test.
Minus 43.
Minus 43. Is minus 23 less than minus 43? No, right? Minus 43 is the least number out of minus 23 and minus 43. So now the min value will be set to minus 43. If I click on step into. Oh, is it not printing? Finally, it print minimum is minus 23. Okay, so let's go back to that. Should be able to. Min value is xi. So where is the passing? Yeah, minus 23. So the minus 23 is least. Okay. Okay, that's right. Okay, because first number is minus 23 is the least. So it's always like, okay, let's change the numbers a little bit different, because it's not changing. That's what I was wondering, why it's not changing, because this is the least number. The first number itself is the least number. So let's go by this way. Now I will restart this. Oh, battery. Okay, anyway, it's class is over. Battery is over. Okay, so let's. If you want to come out of this perspective, debug perspective, just click on the Java perspective. Okay. Now let's go again. Okay. So right click in this test, loop test. Now where did I put the debug point? In the least numbers. Okay. So this will be running till here, no, without any interruption. And when it comes to this, it will stop right here. This is the debug point. I can toggle it. Okay, see. Okay, so now I am coming to loops test. Now we will watch the variables carefully. Where is the debug? Oh, okay, right here, loop test. Okay, so maximum is done. Now we are trying to find minimum. It's still under execution. Now I have to step into. Step into means last class I told you, right? It will go step by step. Step into, this is a symbol. You cannot see, but it's there. Okay. So now let's go to the perspective. Debug perspective is already there, but I have to minimize this. Okay. There we go. So the first minimum value is this 2 billion. Correct. So now xi value will be printed. Xi is 0. So it will be compared with that. And minus 23 is the current minimum because minus 23 is less than positive 2 billion, whatever. Now, if I click this, it will be incremented to 1. I will become 1. Okay, it 1. Now, I1, whatever, minus 4, you compare that number, minus 23 and other number, it will determine minus 23. Yes, minus 23 is still a minimum. Now, 2, 3, still minimum. Okay, now it will change. Okay, now see, minus 23 is less than minus 5,656. Is it true? Minus 23? No, right? So what is the current minimum? Minus 5,000 so and so. So the current minimum is fixed to this, and this is at a fourth position, and I mean fifth element in the array. So that's how it worked. Exactly same thing. You can actually watch these variables in this variables section if you're debugging. Now I am stepping into again. Fifth, still this is the maximum because that is the maximum. I think the final maximum will be that, and it will be printed finally. So sorry, final minimum is minus 23. Okay, minus 23 is final minimum. Okay, is that true? So let's see again. Integer. This is the minimum value, right? Minus 5656. Okay, let's run it and see. I think that way we'll see the final output. Yes, yeah, that is correct. It actually printed, but we couldn't see. So minus 5656 is the minimum value, and max value is this one. So the whole point of debugging is if you're not able to get the desired output, and if you want to fix it, if there are any issues, you can fix it easily using the debug perspective, debug mode, so that you can see how they are progressing, and it will enable you to fix it fastly. You can fix it using sysouts also. You can put lot of system.println, but that is tedious process. This is the best way. So we can use this even in automation. We are going to use this debug technique a lot. Okay, so the final example for the last example I gave you, right, using the switch case. So do you want me to give one more example on switch case? Okay, so last example, I think I showed you switch case somewhere here. Okay, anyway, I couldn't find it, so I'll write it again. So it actually comes under, let's put it in the test. Okay, so let's try to write a reusable function for this inside this. Okay, so if condition multiple times, for example, I have more if conditions, and instead of using if and if like 5-10 times, I will just use the switch case. So using switch case, write a function that prints Prints, let's take a different example, because last time I took example of if you enter the number, it will print the day of the week, right? 1 for Sunday and 2 for Monday, blah blah blah. So this time I will take homework that will print that prints the number of month. Okay, if we pass the name of the month. Okay, so this will be the last example for this. Okay, so we have to write a reusable function for this one. So I'll create a reusable function, public void. So let's call it, what do you want to call this as? Month name or month number, sorry, month number, because we are passing the name and we are printing the number, month number. And what I'm going to pass is string month name. Okay, so there are 12 months, right? There are 12 months, January, February, blah blah till December. And if I have to use if condition, if month name equals January, then print, right? Yeah, month name is argument. So if I have to use if condition, you can write it like this. You can try it. If month name dot equals ignore case or equals, you can also use equals ignore case, because if you might enter January with a capital J or small j, you don't know, right? So equals ignore case and January. Yes, so if I enter capital J or small j or anything, it will be equal. Yeah, case sensitivity is not considered. So I'll have to print something like month. January is the first month. Okay, so I'll put appropriately. January is the first month. So you have to put like 12 conditions. If month Okay, my laptop battery is discharged, so I'm using one of the students. Oh, you have to have.
Yeah.
You don't have, right? You have to. If you want to share the screen, you have to download desktop version, or Google Chrome has one extension. Okay.
You can ask to make this idea as a presenter.
But you have to download the. This is the Chrome, right?
Yeah.
So let's download the Chrome extension. I think it's not allowing. Okay, so I think it allowed, right? Okay. Okay, now let's share. Okay, everybody is able to hear me and see the screen? Your speaker is muted. Okay. Is everybody is able to see? I mean, see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. So let's finish the last example. Loops demo. Yeah. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just finish it halfway through and ask you to finish it completely. So the question was the switch case. Using the switch case, you have to write some function. So I'm using loops demo. You can put it in anywhere you want. Okay, so this is a function name. It started and the end, and the switch case demo. Okay, switch case demo for month name to month number. Okay, so let's call this public void month number, and this accepts a string month name. Okay, all right. So now I have to use a switch case. Switch control space. Okay, so you don't have to even remember the syntax, so automatically it will show you. Okay, this is the syntax we are going to use. Just click on this, it will fill up. You just this is actually a template, you can say. Now the key is month name. Okay, so my key for the switch is month name and case value. So for example, if I enter something like January, you are not able to see. I am actually sharing the screen, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is able to see, right?
Yeah.
Okay, January. Then what you have to do is you have to sys out January is the first month. Okay, so you can customize it according to your wish, but this is how you have to. Then case February. February is the second month. Case blah blah blah. Case December. You just fill the gaps. Okay, so now you type it. You got the question, right? So using switch case, if I pass January, you have to type January first. For example, now you have to call this again. This is function. You have to call it. You have to. For example, if you type January with a capital J, then you have to type like the default. Please enter the month name in all lower cases. Okay.
But yeah, equal
case, you cannot put it right. So you can put it like if you want to enter capital J, I mean starting letter capital, you put it. You enter capital J and the default will be if nothing is matches, it goes to default. In that case, you can please enter the correct month name with initial letter as a capital letter. So that way it's either it's up to you. You can yeah. So shared video, right?
So we
this is if condition. You can still write it using this condition. This is one way. That is the other way.
so if I if condition, so what are we going to do?
So if month name equals is January, then sys out. Same thing like switches. Sys out. January is the first month. Else if month name dot equals is February. Blah blah blah. Same.
So in that case,
Correct. Which is the best way, but you can also practice. Just for practice purpose, you try that later. But switch case is the optimized way. Okay, go one by one. Don't start July. Directly don't jump to July. You go like February, March, April. So that. Name bracket open bracket close. Okay. So if you don't know the switch case syntax, what you're going to do is switch control space. Now enter. That is the syntax. So just select that. You have to just fill the gaps. Key is your month name. So just remove the key and month name. Value will be your January, February, blah blah blah. No. That's month name. Actual month name is variable.
That will be family, right?
No, right. This you are going to pass.
And the value
is January. Quotes January. Quotes. String, right?
And February is the second.
So don't worry, even if you don't complete it, I'll tell you in the next class. Process of. So you can write like January is the first month.
Yeah, what go to the default?
So default is for nothing matches what you are print. For example, if I enter like ABCD, right? Then you are print like please enter the correct name. All So, okay guys, that's all for today. And yeah, that's okay. You just try. That is for your homework. Okay, so then see you on next Sunday. Yeah. Bye bye.
Oh, February. Bullshit. Everyone bullshit. Bro. Yeah, I'm from Bangladesh. Postman.